Rampage is a 1980s arcade lover's blast of monster movie nostalgia. I mean, you have King Kong meets Godzilla if you're a movie studio that doesn't own the rights to King Kong or Godzilla.
Hey, boom goes Chicago. There was so much action sequences in this movie that I barely could handle it all. You get 3 giant monsters. You got an alligator, a big gorilla, and a wolf. And they all level the city, and the army goes to war, to stop them.
An evil corporation develops a chemical weapon called Rampage, where it turns animals into monsters. Now, The Rock plays a primatologist named Davis, who has to help his friend, a gorilla named George, after he is accidentally infected with the Rampage.
Everything about this movie was ludicrous, a mindless action blockbuster that gets rehashed every other week.
The plot is a little over the top, but that's what you expect with a video game adaptation about monsters destroying a city.
This movie starts and forgets subplots left and right. In the first third of the film, you're introduced to half a dozen side characters that are never seen again once George escapes, and it just becomes a typical monster destruction movie. The opening space sequence is only about 10 minutes, but it's pretty exhilarating. The rest of the movie after that, it just follows your standard blockbuster action movie tropes.
This film had a few action sequences that just blew me away. I mean, the helicopter on the collapsing building, that was pretty intense. And all of the monster battles, it was 100% adrenaline rush.
Once the monsters start destroying the city, you have your standard, will the hero save the city suspense, but come on, it's The Rock. Was there ever a chance he wouldn't lay the smackdown?
There was one thing that bugged me. They used the same action scene twice. It's the type of scene where they're looking at a video camera and they're watching a mission take place, when they're searching for the monster. I can excuse it for having that cliche action sequence once in a movie, but twice, you can't do that.
All of the acting is over the top. It's like the filmmakers injected the actors with Rampage to make them act as crazy as possible. Even The Rock is over the top, but he just has so much charisma that you don't really mind it as much, and you can actually enjoy scenes that he's in.
The stars of this movie are Dwayne The Rock Johnson and a CGI gorilla named George. I think the filmmakers did a pretty good job of establishing their friendship and making George feel as real as possible.
The evil villains are the worst part. To say that they are stereotypical movie villains is an understatement, and the fact that they also serve as the exposition dumps throughout the film just make it even more cringeworthy.
The Walking Dead's Jeffrey Dean Morgan plays a supporting government agent, and he plays the role as an outlandish cowboy, and it's really fun to watch.
There were a lot of giggle bits in this movie. I mean, 2/3 of them were in the trailer, but they're still pretty funny to see within the context of the film. The scenes with The Rock and Jeffrey Dean Morgan going back and forth, that's pretty funny, but the best giggle bits, though, those are between The Rock and the big CGI gorilla.
And finally, I have to give the filmmakers some kudos for slipping in the original Rampage arcade system cameo that was in the background of the evil corporation headquarters. I mean, I have the NES version, that's still pretty cool, right?
This movie was action-packed. It had my blood pumping from all the sequences of the monsters destroying the city and The Rock coming in to save the day. But I can't give it a higher score because it did reuse the cliche action sequences here and there. So 8 out of 10.
This was probably the best movie that could have been made from the Rampage video game, but there wasn't ever a need to make a movie from the Rampage video game. So there's that. So 6 out of 10.
This movie was not an all-out comedy, but the giggle bits, they were pretty funny, and they were a welcome surprise amongst all the explosions and destruction. 5 out of 10.
There was some suspense to start off the movie, but after that, everything just collapses into your standard action film.
4 out of 10.
This movie was a waste of 2 hours of my life. 0 out of 10. We here at Who's Review give Rampage the overall rating of good old monkey business. It's a fun movie for people looking to see a mindless action film and want to escape reality for a few hours. You get to see The Rock and a large CGI gorilla have an action-packed romp through Chicago against a Godzilla wannabe. But make sure that you check your brains at the door because there are some leaps in logic that won't ever make sense to you. There you have it. That's our review of Rampage. What do you think? Have you seen the movie? Are we right on, way off? Let us know in the comment section below and we'll check it out and respond. As always, if you want to stay up to date on all things Who's Review, make sure to like us on Facebook, follow us on Instagram, and most importantly of all, subscribe to this YouTube channel. We thank you guys for checking us out, and we'll see you next time here at Who's Review, where everyone is a critic. Is it lay the smack down, put the smack down? I don't know. I think it's lay the smack down. I feel like you lay the smack down, you don't put the smack down. I don't know. We'll figure it out.